Everybody, this is Nate Savage. This is Savage 5050. I'm here with my man, Mega Hawk. What's going on?
Oh, I'm doing just fine, brother. I'm doing just fine. Thank you for having me on. I truly appreciate it. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity.
Nothing to it. Nothing to it.
Yeah, man. So Mega Hawk, man, that's an exciting name, man. How did you come up with that? Where did that come from?
Honestly, I didn't come up with it at all. I was actually dubbed this name by TPUSA's Benny Johnson, right?
Right.
Just so happened to be at a rally at the same time that he was at a rally in Huntington Beach. And he saw me, and it was so awesome with the way it happened. He just looked at me and was like, MAGA Hulk. I said, yes, sir. Because I was wearing a MAGA hat and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
The tank top, and I had the big old flag, and he called me that. And since that interview, that name just stuck. It just stuck to me. So since then, due to Turning Point USA's Benny Johnson, I am now MAGA Hulk, so, and I'm not complaining whatsoever.
Yeah. I mean, you are a Hawk, man. You're huge.
Well, I appreciate that. Yes, sir.
Okay, so you were saying right now you currently, you live in California, correct?
Nah.
What a mess, right?
Yeah, it's an absolute mess. It's an absolute crap show. You look at the policies going on here. You look at what Governor Newsom has been doing to the state, the mask mandates, the vaccine mandates. It's just, I mean, the infringement on our civil liberties has been atrocious. Newsom's always been ultra sympathetic to the plight of the illegal, as opposed to the plight of the citizen, the Californian. You look at a lot of the issues going on with homelessness. It's at all-time high. You look at what's going on with the vagrancy. You look at what's going on with the crime. I mean, a lot of these different cities, it's absolutely atrocious. So you look down the line, it's just a terrible place. And California was a tourist destination, especially where I live here in LA. It used to be a tourist destination, but it's no longer so. So yeah, it's I can't wait to get out of here. Oh goodness, I can't wait to get out of here.
I thought the black supremacists might have actually had a chance for a second.
Oh, well put. Well put. Yeah, you would think that there's a lot of things that we would think when it comes to the state of California that's not necessarily so. And it's kind of interesting seeing the way California has devolved in grand fashion. And the only person that really benefits at this point in time is the illegal when it comes to the state of California.
And the criminals benefit. I see people go with trash bags going into like the pharmacies and just packing them and running out. And the security guards can't even touch them.
We can't do a daggone thing. And that's what's so sad about it is, it's one of those situations where, I mean, and we talk about these different situations, people who, someone would break into your house, right? The classic situation where someone would break into your house, and in breaking into the house, they would trip and fall and land on something, on a knife in your house. And then the criminal, the person who broke into your house, turns around and sues you for having an unsafe environment for them to rob, and they would win in that case. And you see this happening in the same situation when it comes to California. You see these criminals, and they can go in and with an entire trash bag, with an entire Glad bag, and just load up on supplies, hop back on his bike and jet right on out, cruise right on out. You see people grabbing handfuls of merchandise and walking out of Louis Vuitton and out of Foot Locker and things of this nature. But yet and still, if the common citizen decides to go to work without a vaccine passport or a vaccine, some pass, you know what I'm saying? All of a sudden, we're the criminal, we're the ones shouted down, we're the ones told that we're absolutely terrible for what it is that we're doing. So it's kind of backwards. No, it is backwards what's going on right now.
Everything bad is good nowadays. We living in some
Orwellian.
crazy times right now.
This right now is Orwellian. It's an Orwellian future right now. Every up is down, down is up, left is right, right is left, and good is bad, and bad is good. We see this happening in grand fashion, and it's really disgusting because it's encouraging criminality, and it's discouraging law-abiding behavior. It's discouraging police. Right, the police department are having a hard time right now because their hands are tied. Every time they try to implement the law or do as a law requires them to do, they're being vilified for doing basic things that the police department is supposed to stand for. And it's really sad that you're not supposed to do this when it comes to criminality. This is not how you implement and enforce any type of laws. Is you go up against a criminal. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to do that. You're supposed to go up against a criminal, but that's not the way it is anymore.
We're so backwards. Now men are women and women are men. So we fell so far away from God. Now, I wanted to ask you about that. Do you believe in God?
100 and daggone 10%. He is my sustenance. He is my strong tower. He is, Lord have mercy. You see what's going on right now, and it's the exact antithesis of what is supposed to be happening in a moralistic and godly society.
Right. So you're a Christian?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's good. Me too.
Come on, let's go.
Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord. Yes, sir.
So where are you from originally?
Originally, I grew up all over Southern California. It's been my stomping grounds for all my life until recent. Born in San Diego, moved from San Diego to Hemet, California. Did my high school, my junior high school there, and from there went to Riverside, California, where I did college and spent a good deal of my life. Then I moved to the high desert area, Victorville, Apple Valley, all that sort of thing. And now now I live in LA, right? I live with my client right now. I do private security, personal security, so I live with my client. But I'm finally uprooted and moved in the early beginnings of this year to Arizona. So my house is there, and I'm waiting to get back to that. But right now, I'm still in California. But I've always been, I've always been a Cali boy.
Okay. So did you grow up in a hood?
There's been plenty of hoods, I should say, where I've lived, where I've grown up. Anywhere you go, you can pretty much find a hood area in there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when I went to Hemet was a retirement community. And then after a while it started becoming white hood, right? And then began to spring up a lot of hoods in Hemet. Then I moved to Riverside, where I was living in Riverside was definitely the hood. Lord have mercy. After I got kicked out of the dorms, I where I was living was kind of quite hood. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I could imagine.
And then when I moved up to the high desert area to Apple Valley, I moved into an area known as Felony Flats. Of course, I didn't know that at the time. I thought it was some cheap rent, you know what I'm saying? But I got up there and lived in the area called Felony Flats. So I'm very familiar when it comes to the hood, you know what I mean? So it's kind of an interesting little deal,
Yeah, I know. I know the feeling. I'm from Philadelphia, so it gets pretty wild. So did you grow up close to your mother and father?
I did. Fortunately, I was so fortunate to have both my mother and father. My real father stepped away for a good portion of my life, and my stepfather actually raised us with my mother. So thank God I was able to have both mother and father in the home supporting me and keeping me on the right track. And it's so important to have fathers in the home so that we understand what it is to and how we should be a man. Right? It's fatherless homes that are really contributing to the delinquency of a lot of these minors and contributing to a lot of issues that we see within the Black community.
Absolutely. So was you an ex-Democrat at some point?
Oh, yes, indeed.
You voted for Barack Hussein Obama twice, right?
I didn't even vote at that time, but I didn't vote until 2020. That was the first time I've ever voted. And but I, you know, 110%, I was a leftist. You know, I had a leftist mentality. You know, Black equals Democrat, that sort of thing. That, you know, we typically, the mantra that we typically promote and propagate.
You was a Hebrew Israelite, right?
No, I wasn't that far. Now my brother was. My brother was. So there's a lot of things that he would talk about and espouse that kind of resonated with me. Some things not, some things that did. But when it came down to it, I was very anti-white, right? And I had white friends and everything like that. But at the end of the day, I still harbored a lot of um, uh, anger and hostility in my heart when it came to white people, right? It was easy to denigrate them and tear them down and all that sort of thing, because in my mind, I thought that all white people were against Black people, you know, and inherently they had racist mentalities and sentiments and things of that nature. So when I'll get around my boys, all we do was roast white people. All we would do is do that. You know what I'm saying? You know, you get around the fellas and you go off. You know what I'm saying? So whenever right now, you know, now that I've had that political awakening and actually have my eyes open, I try to tell people and explain to them that some of the most racist people you will find are Black liberals, unfortunately. You know,
Black people are the most racist people you'll ever meet, and Black people can be openly racist. Black people have way more freedom of speech than white people.
Real talk.
I literally seen white people get fired on their day off for simply being caught on camera saying all lives matter.
Boom. Boom. You know what I mean? Something as innocuous as all lives matter. All of a sudden, that's a problem. Standing up for all lives, understanding that there's all lives, that all lives are important, right? In a functioning society, that there's no second class type of race, there's no second class type of citizen when it comes to the United States of America, saying that all lives matter. That's a very easy to understand, innocuous phrase, but that won't stand in this day and age. And just by saying that other lives matter other than Black, that's considered racist. And it's funny how there's so much anger and vitriol when it comes to white people, but yet and still we can say all lives matter is racist, right? But they can't say that Black lives matter is racist, because we all understand Black lives matter is just it's a euphemistic expression for white supremacy. Black supremacy, right? Black Lives Matter is a euphemistic expression for Black supremacy, as well as it's a Marxist push, as you saw with Black Lives Matter. You know, they try to want to upend the nuclear family and things of that nature. So everything that Black Lives Matter stands for, incorporated. Black Lives Matter Incorporated. Everything that they stand for is everything that's even anti-Black. Right? What Black organization wants to upend the nuclear family, which is essential for the furthering of Black homes and the importance of Black homes, Black fathers in the homes? They don't want that. They want to upend the nuclear family. They want to stop that. They want to halt that. So the very essence of Black Lives Matter is anti-Black.
Black Lives Matter is satanic and is a racist, Marxist, terrorist organization. And the push for critical race theory is the reason why Glenn Youngkin actually took the state of Virginia, because most people, you know, the Democratic Party lost touch with the American people.
Yes.
Nobody cares about critical race theory.
Thank you.
And when it comes to the push on the schools for trying to teach this, they can't really win off of, orange man bad and pushing critical race theory. They have no good policies that they want to push. The Democrats run their whole campaign off of Trump is a bad guy and critical race theory. What do you think about Virginia being taken back by the Republican Party?
I think that's absolutely fantastic. I love the fact that Virginia went back red, you know, and it's really indicative of what the American people have want for the state of Virginia. I put out a tweet today that we the people have spoken, right? And this is what happens when we the people get together and band together for a common cause, for a cause of good, and actually take it seriously, and to get out there in grand fashion and fight for our rights as parents, fight for our rights, especially it was a referendum on that, you know. McAuliffe was really all about big government coming down on the parents, right? And Youngkin was like, look, we want to give our parents power, because at the end of the day, that's what it's about. It's about our parents, not about the state being able to impose their will on our parents, right?
Right.
So I think it's a wonderful referendum on what is good, what is right, and it showcases that we, the people, do have power if we just amass the power together in a collective weapon and use it against the Democrat Party, and we will understand and we will see that we have a positive impact when it comes to what it is that we deem to be moralistically right and correct for our society.
Right, absolutely. And that was a big one for the Republican Party. I seen weak men like Van Donken, whatever his name is. He was on CNN crying, and CNN, it was a lot of people crying. You know, it's saying, oh, white supremacy is alive and well. That's the reason why, you know, this red wave is getting out of control.
Jamil Hill was crying on Twitter, the typical go-tos, Jamil Hill was sitting there crying about it. Van Jones was crying about it. All these black political pundits was crying about it, talking about white supremacy, when the lieutenant governor is black, and one of the other winners was a Cuban.
Yeah.
But yeah, white supremacy, right? We're all about white supremacy. When we had more of a diverse coalition that won in grand fashion in Virginia, but at the same time, we're all the white supremacists, right?
It's completely crazy how that works out, man.
You're telling me.
So MAGA Hawk, you're like a character for the Republican Party, right? You're like MAGA Hawk. You at damn near every Trump rally with the flags and dressed up in your Trump apparel. It's like, when did that all start off?
That was all 2020. That all popped off in 2020 when I finally decided that I wanted to go to a rally. I wanted to go see what these Trump rallies were about. I would always see them driving by, and
they're Klan rallies, right?
Of course. It's a bunch of Klansmen, you know what I'm saying? The narrative is so bunk. The narrative is, and that's what it's about. It's about destroying narratives, and that's what I base my life on, my political journey on, is destroying and dispelling a lot of these Democrat narratives that have done nothing but tear apart the moral fiber of society. Right, a bunch of lies, a bunch of gaslighting. So when I started going to these rallies, I started seeing that it's nothing like they tried to make it seem like. It's not a bunch of white supremacists banding together, shouting KKK and all this type of stuff. It's about everyday Americans standing for what they know to be right. Right. And it's the media, just like what happened with this Virginia election, and the way Jamil Hill and Van Jones, started spouting off all this racist rhetoric, talking about racism. That's what they did when it came to Trump supporters during 2020, especially when it came to the election. So when I finally started going to these rallies and I started seeing the amount of love on our side, and we would accept people into the fold, and we would just want to have conversations with people instead of trying to shout them down like BLM and Antifa, right? You see what happens. When you actually go to a rally and you see the amount of love there, you see the amount of support, the pro-America support, it has nothing to do with white supremacy. As a matter of fact, if there was any type of white supremacists there, they would get shouted down and sent away. Me and my boys that ran the rallies in Beverly Hills, we were all blacks. It was a bunch of blacks and Hispanics, right? Simple, but yet and still we white liberals dressed up in their Black Lives Matter gear, right? So a bunch of white liberals on the left will come up to a bunch of black MAGA, and Hispanic MAGA, right, on the right, but they would say that goodness was absolutely bunk. The narrative was bunk, and it was just a matter of exposing that and showcasing that when it really comes down to it, we are the ones that uphold America. We're the ones that stand and true love that are vicious, bitter racists, the very things that they accuse us of, they were, right? And that's usually how it goes. Whenever they say we're the racists, it's them that's the racist because all they do is keep racism alive by giving it CPR every 5 freaking seconds.
Yeah, I definitely see way more racism on the Democratic left
So this is
side.
racist, organic racist. Exactly. Exactly. The left is always giving CPR to racism. That's what the left does. They give CPR to racism. And it's us on the right that's constantly trying to combat it. And every time we try to combat it, we're called racist.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what's really going on. Once you open your eyes, you see what's going on.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
it's completely ridiculous right now. I see you having like a Wi-Fi problem, man. You keep freezing.
I'm having some issues, man. It sucks.
Yeah, you keep coming in and out. So let's see if I get you back.
Oh.
Hey, there you go.
How about? Okay, Lord have mercy. Yeah, the struggle's real over here, man. Goodness gracious.
So right now there's a culture war against a straight white Christian conservative man. You heard about that?
Yeah, it's really ridiculous the amount of racism that just for being a straight white male, you know.
Yeah, especially a Christian male.
Yeah.
Is the white man is under attack right now. I mean, and really it's only the straight white Christian conservative man that's actually holding the country together.
Yeah, absolutely. And they receive so much anger and vitriol, and it's really sad that the amount of racism that they incur and the amount of hate that they incur just for being a straight white Christian male, right? They're being vilified, they're being shamed, they're being torn down.
Yeah, exactly.
Coupled with their ideology.
Mm-hmm.
So it's unfortunate. It really is unfortunate that this is happening in this day and age. You know, that this is coming. This is America. It went from white supremacy back in the day, right? Where there was a bunch of white supremacy, there was a bunch of white supremacists, you know, KKK, you know, all that type of thing, and it was all shot down and torn down during the civil rights era. And then you come around to this day and age, and now the flavor of the day is being black. So if you're white, you're automatically everything wrong and bad with this country. And it's just like this shifting dynamic of power. It's okay to shout down a white person and talk down about them and talk about how they're the worst thing since the worst thing. The very racist thing, the tactics that we used to use, that were used on us as blacks, are now being used on whites, right? It's a complete switch. It's a flip. And
yeah, it's reverse racism.
At the end of the day, and it's sad. It's sad. It is racism. I don't care how you try to cut it, how you try to put it. It's racist. You know,
what do you think about when black people say, "Oh, black people can't be racist"?
Nine possibly come up with this trope that black people can't be racist. If you have racist sentiments, if you have racism in your heart, then you can espouse racism. It doesn't matter the color. You know, truth transcends color, so does racism. So if you showcase racism, then you are a racist. It's that simple. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, brown, green, pink with purple polka dots. You are racist. If you espouse racist sentiments, you are a racist. It's that simple.
Yeah, well, the argument is, oh, since, you know, black people, we don't control the system, so it's like systematic racism.
I'm so annoyed with this idea that you, because, and it's this newfangled idea. It's new. It's this, revisionist, we can redefine terms. You see this happening on the left. They're always trying to redefine terms. And here we are in a situation where they're trying to say, oh, racism really isn't this. It's now this, right? This relativistic push of what right and wrong is. And they keep moving the goal sentiments that are denigrating to a particular color of people, right? Based on the color of skin, you're making these basic assertions. That's racism. Now they're trying to say, oh, it has to do with power dynamics. And so black people can be racist and white people are always racist. Well, if that was the case, we'll understand that the power dynamics have shifted towards the black man. So now we're at the top of the totem pole and white people are down here, society, according to society, right? Which means we're up on top of the structures of power, which means we have the power, which means we are definitely being racist. So any way you try to cut it, we're still racist, showcasing racism, and we can't give it a pass. We can't give it a pass. We just can't.
Exactly. It's completely ridiculous. So what is Black culture?
Black culture, I mean, we have varying definitions of Black culture, but there's a lot of things that Black culture does have to offer, and I think that is wonderful, acknowledging different cultures. Black culture has something great to offer, white culture has something great to offer, Hispanic culture, Asian culture, and you put them all together and you have the United States of America. So when it comes to Black culture, I think what it really boils down to is, when it comes to our music, when it comes to our entertainment, we gave things a lot of flavor, if you will. And I think that's a wonderful thing when it comes to the United States of America, that we have something that we have to offer that's fantastic and grand. But I don't sit here and say that our culture is something better than any other culture. We just have a different culture that we typically advance, and like I said, it's a lot of, we add a lot of flavor to life. We have great music. We have when it comes to hard work and dedication, that came from the Black man. Especially during the times of slavery, we implemented we showcased a lot of resilience, a lot of strength. That was something that was a lot of God. We implemented a lot of God. We were, you couldn't break the Black spirit back in the day, especially in the days of slavery. So those are a lot of different cultural aspects that we have, that we brought to the table, that have seemed to be long lost because we are not the strong people that we used to be.
The civil rights movement destroyed Black culture.
Yes.
And there's a difference between hood culture and Black culture.
Indeed. I think that after this, I really do believe that after the civil rights, we saw a decline of what it is to be a man, right? Especially a Black man. The hood culture came into full play, right? Unfortunately, the Black man was the pinnacle of strength, especially during the civil rights era, and then after the civil rights era concluded. You saw Black people starting to lax in their approach of what it is to be a man, right? And it's quite unfortunate the way it transpired that way. You look at Black culture right now; we're emasculated as Black men. We've been emasculated. You see people like Lil Nas X, leading the charge of what it is to be a Black man, right? Goodness gracious, putting these men in dresses, and these men are doing it, right? You see this happening in grand fashion. It's really sad that this is going on in this day and age. But here we are in 2021.
Well, I'm under the impression that the Democratic Party actually leads. They have a lot of leadership when it comes to pushing a hood culture on the Black community. I feel like people like Lori Lightfoot is responsible for the violence that's going on in Chicago. And she's one of the worst ones, but it's a lot of examples all around the country of mayors that's just like her, that basically encourage violence.
Right.
It's to the point where if a criminal know they could do whatever they want and the police are not allowed to chase them, then they're, It is what it is.
That's where the problem arises.
It's anarchy.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And that's what's happening right now in this day and age. It's total and complete anarchy. If you are not going to sit here and patrol your streets, if you're going to say that black people get a pass, based on the color of their skin, and that we can't go after any type of black criminal based on the color of their skin, if you're going to espouse these different things that are detrimental to the black community, if you're not going to acknowledge the fact that black on black crime is a huge problem in America, right? Black on black crime is a humongous issue when it comes to our inner cities and our hoods. So if you're not going to do anything about that because you don't want to be labeled as a white supremacist, as a black person, a white supremacist, oh my gosh, you're going up against black people. I mean, we saw what happened when it came to Ma'Khia Bryant, and that white officer came out, and this woman was about to plunge a knife into the chest of another young black woman, and this white cop shoots the perpetrator, which is trying to destroy a life, and gets absolutely pinned and nailed to a cross because of it, right? For doing the right thing. When you incentivize criminality and showcase how terrible it is to be a law-abiding citizen, when the hood gets out there and says, we're going to because you are going up against the system, you're going up against the man, you're taking it up against the man. And then these mayors promote that type of mentality, right? And they go on to defund the police. I mean, it's a whole list of things that they're doing right now that they're doing wrong. And I have to say this real quick. Unfortunately, I'm running out of time here. I have to run to work. Unfortunately, I am so sorry.
No, it's all good.
But what's going on within the black community is absolutely atrocious, and we have to talk about it if we're going to bring any type of awareness to what's going on right now.
Absolutely. I mean, think about it. We fell so far away from God, and then black people adopted blackness as their religion, so they can't see logic. Whenever a black person is completely 1,000% in the wrong, we judge it based off of our skin color and not off of the actual reality of what caused the situation to happen. Right. However, MAGA Hawk, I appreciate you joining me on such short notice at this hour. But the thing is, tell everybody where they can find you real quick before you got to go.
Yes, sir. You can find me at Real MAGA Hulk on TikTok. You can find me at Real MAGA Hulk on Instagram, as well as on Twitter, Real MAGA Hulk. You can find me on Turning Point USA. I'm a contributor with Turning Point USA. I have a podcast called Smash, the Smash Podcast. Yes, indeed. So you can look me up there. You can find me everywhere, baby. I'm trying to be as many places as I possibly can, because we have a responsibility to our country to put out the truth.
Absolutely, man. One day I got to have you back on when you got better Wi-Fi.
You ain't lying.
Because I know I could hear everything you were saying, but your screen kept freezing.
Oh yeah,
that was all good. But I know you on the road, you traveling and doing all kinds of stuff.
That's what sucks. Yeah.
But I appreciate you joining me. Hey, we're gonna stay in touch, man. I got to try to get you back on.
I'm fine with that. You let me know when and where, and I'll be there. Let's go.
Tell your wife I appreciate her setting it all up.
Not a problem. You got it, brother. You got it. It's nothing to it.
All right, man. Have fun at work tonight. Peace.
Yes, indeed. Take care.
All right.